What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Bay Rats and Buoys. I'm your host, Captain Gage. This is episode 89, Season 3, On the Boat, brought to you in part by Cito Huntington. Are you a member? Visit Cito.com and join today. And J&M Seafood of East Northport and East Setauket. Guys, any catering needs, any seafood, whatever you need, you got to go see Matt and his crew over at J&M Seafood in East Northport and East Setauket. You guys are lucky that they got two stores. They are absolutely amazing at what they do, so go check them out, and they will be able to take care of you. Tell Matt Captain Gage sent you. I'm sure he'll charge you a little extra. No, I'm sure he'll take care of you. So head over there, and you could always mention Captain Gage or Bay Rats and Buoys. And let's get into the fishing. We got a lot to talk about. You got the tuna bite. You got the bluefish. You got fluke. You got striped bass. Black sea bass, porgies, everybody's out there fishing and doing their thing. It's what are you catching and what are you using to catch them? So I'm going to tune you in and get you dialed in on what we're doing and how we're doing it and help you out and maybe put you on some fish. We've had some really amazing charters in the past couple of days. I mean, we go out every day. We got a little weather system coming in today, so we took the day off to get stuff organized and ready. We'll be back at it for the weekend. And the past couple of charters we've been out, we've had a great time. We've really had good crews, good people come out and charter with us. And we had people from New York City. We had Swedish people from California. I mean, we just had a plethora of different people on the boat, and it's been epic. It really has. The videos are insane. Thanks to those new glasses, which I haven't used in the last two trips. I've been using the GoPros. Because the action's been like insane, lights out, and the GoPros are rolling. We even got a couple of the rods. I got Corey Wilder from my entertainment days at Todd Barry Entertainment. He hooked into a fish, so you're going to see him set the hook. You'll see me in a video set the hook and hand the rod to a customer. We had a father and son yesterday, doubled up on the boat with a keeper and a big big over. And it was really cool to see the two of them doubled up. We've been doubled and tripled up on a lot of trips. When you're using live bait and you get into the fish, that's going to happen a lot. So we've been finding them. It's July, and we're still catching big bass here. We're even catching slots. We had 2 slot fish yesterday, which were like trophies because Steve, who charters us, that was his 3rd trip out with us for the season so far. And he knows how hard it is to get a slot fish because of the small range you have, 28, 29, 30, 31. You got that 4 inches of flexibility to grab a keeper. And for them to go home with 2, they were having some good food last night on the barbecue for sure. But it's a ton of fun. But I'm telling you right now, and Frank was out there yesterday trolling, and he was getting them 2 on the troll. So guys are still out there trolling. We haven't trolled in weeks. We really haven't. And what's crazy is I showed you guys a DTX minnow. We actually trolled a DTX minnow for striped bass because they were feeding on so much mackerel, and we had this mackerel-colored DTX minnow that we put out. Now, I bought those for tuna, and we put them out for striped bass, and we got a striped bass on it. So me and Corey were high-fiving like, hell yeah, that was awesome. Just to see the action in the rod tips, so different than what we used to and trolling at a faster speed. I mean, we were trolling between 5 and 6 knots, and I'd say closer to 6. And just watching the rod tips, do their thing while this thing was deep diving and swimming down deep for it to get hit by a bass was really cool. I saw the East End Anglers recently just posted a picture of a tuna, of a big eye, yellowfin, whatever, whichever one they got. They posted a picture of. They got it on the DTX minnow. So we're excited to get out there with those guys this year. We'll be at the Montauk Canyon Challenge. That's going to be July 10th. That starts tomorrow, guys. So the 10th to the 18th, Montauk Canyon Challenge. Now, you see my flag flying on Scott's boat behind me. He put up a big American flag on his boat because he saw in the back of the podcast that his flag was making it into the episode. So he was like, dude, I had to put a bigger flag up for the podcast. And so yesterday I put a boat on. I put a flag on. So yesterday I sat down here and did this in the heat. The cameras were overheating. It was like I was having an electrical nightmare down here as far as the cameras were concerned with the heat. And I was live on TikTok. The phone was having an issue. It was like It was too hot for everything yesterday, but not even, I loved it. I sat down here for a while, but I was like, I'm not editing that whole thing together and piecing it together. I tell you guys every week, this is unscripted, it's raw, it's unedited, and I felt like I just wanted to stay true to that and came back down today. I got some cloud cover because you got a storm rolling in, and I'm seeing people leave on their boats with, cool as ice and whatnot, and I'm just like, maybe they're not looking at the radar. Maybe they're coming back early. I'm not asking. I'm not saying a word. You're leaving. You're going out. You're catching fish. These are the guys that usually don't say hi to you on your dock. Those are the ones I have no advice for you. You go out. You do your thing, and to each his own. You can see the cloud cover. You can see it coming. So I'll get a shot of that to put in here in the B-roll to show you after I'm done recording. So it's July, and we're still nailing bass. Now, Captain of the Kitchen, he's big on the fluke. He really is. So he's dialed in. He's watching every fluke video known to mankind to try different techniques and different things to look for as far as the structure is concerned. I'll mention the fire pit. When he's finding the rocks and he's able to find the fish, and he's got some great concepts and techniques that work for him. However, not a lot of people are catching a lot of keeper fluke, even in the fishing league. We did have a couple of 25s, 26s, and 27s that were submitted into the league at thefishingleague.com. And you could always go over and check out those leaderboards and check that out in the different divisions. The fluke bite, I'm not a big bottom fisherman, so we'll do fluke fishing trips with kids, and we'll go bottom fishing for porgy, for fluke, for black sea bass, and whatnot when the rods have to bend. But that's not what we specialize in. Me and Corey are really dialed in on getting into the blues and the bass, and we'll talk about the blues in a minute and some of the phone calls that I got. And the fact that we're still getting them in July is we usually do, but the bite's been pretty strong. They're really decent-sized fish that are still here. And because of our intel, thanks to the Bay Rats and Buoys Fishing Club, which you are more than welcome to head over to sandcitycharter.com and join. You could head over to bayratsandbuoys.com and join. You head over to the podcast page, and you'll be able to find the fishing club for sure. And I'll even make it bigger, broader, and more accessible to you. If you want to join and get involved on the intel that this group shares, it's second to none. It really is. And it's so cool to see. So Pat and his family were going out yesterday. I mean, he gets back and, I got a report on my phone telling me what he got, what happened, where he was, what he fished for. And he was going out with his daughters and his wife, going bottom fishing. And me and Corey had a charter yesterday morning. So Corey's job is to get the bait, okay? So he calls. I said to him, hey, we got spot, we got eels, what do we got? So nobody had anything locally. And I said, well, call around and find out. Because if I got to go see Brandon again at Causeway, I'll head over there and grab eels at least, minimum, to go out. Because let me tell you, up until this season, we didn't fish eels on the North Shore for us on a regular basis. Okay, we didn't drift eels. And eels have yielded us some of the best bass this season. We've seen lights out fishing on live eel. And Corey had called Mark and Phil over at Cow Harbor, and they had live eel. And we went over there, and I mean, they had different sizes you could choose from. So they have eels all season long. So I know Mark has that tank in the back in his rod building room, and they have eels all season long. So you could always head over there and grab eels and any of the bait that you need. We love using Spot, which we have. We use them every week. You put that down in 30 seconds. If you see fish on your sonar, your down scan, your side scan, wherever you are, you put down live Spot and drift that area and keep the fish off the bottom, you are going to hook up, guaranteed. And I got to say the same thing with the eel, because yesterday the father and son were doubled up on eel. We were live lining eel. And the trick is really knowing your depth and making sure that you're giving it 10 cranks, 6, 8 cranks, 10 cranks. Get it off the bottom. You got to have some sort of a weight. We're using an egg weight above the leader so that now you have the weight here and the leader comes down to, we had 6/0 hooks on. Corey's requesting bigger hooks, so we're going with the 8. And, the 6/0 circles, you put them through the nose of the spot or the croaker. The eel, we like to go through the eye and out the lip, go through the eye and out the mouth, and you're going to have them on there until they're eaten. And that has done very well for us. So if you're going to get out there and do that, I'll make a few videos with Corey when we go out. We're so dialed in doing what we're doing that, we don't make a lot of show you how we're doing it videos. We just show you what the complete chaos on the boat, what's going on while it's happening, and everybody's hooting and hollering and having a blast. We had 2 7-year-olds with their dads out that crushed some big bass, and they caught a keeper as well, but the son decided, the 7-year-old Jackson decided, release that fish, let it go. So that was kind of cool. And they caught they caught a big fish that we tagged. So we tagged the fish for them. And that was an awesome day too. So those videos are great. Now that video got like 9,200 views on Facebook so far. It's up a couple days. It's out in all the groups. And we're excited. We're excited to get into this tuna bite. Me and my son were coming down to the harbor the other day. And, of course, we ran into Tuna Tom. And that's my nickname for him. And he takes a single screw engine. He gets out behind the draggers and gets out there and he catches tuna. And he brings, gas cans with him. He does whatever he's got to do to get there and back. So we're going to join in on that fun on the Hydra Yacht. We plan on catching tuna on the Hydra Yacht. And that's its nickname. It's a Hydra Sports boat. So we plan on catching some tuna on this boat. Trailer's getting wired up and making sure everything's perfect on the trailer. And we're going to go head to the South Shore and head out and see if we can get on some tuna. We'll be out of Montauk for the Montauk Canyon Challenge. That's going to be starting tomorrow, the 10th to the 18th. And that's going to be incredible. So, Scott, the flag you see behind me on the boat, in front of my boat, he's probably one of the best tuna captains that I know. He could be sitting in his living room, and somebody offshore could tell them where they are. Tell Scott where they are right now on the water, and he will, with his electronics, put you in a better position and giving you a much better chance to catch tuna sitting in his living room. So when he's on the boat, it's even better. He's more dialed in with the electronics and the technology these days. So it's awesome. It really is. And I love learning from the best. And I always tell you guys, I'm like a sponge. I love learning. I don't know everything. I went down to Florida. I caught a blackfin tuna with my nephew. He caught a sailfish. That was the pelagic fishing that we did down south. That doesn't compare to anything here. I have not hooked into any tuna in our area. Previous years, I've been super busy with charters and commercial tow captain. So, with that said, this year I've made plenty of time. We're still busy with charters, but I've made plenty of time to prepare so that I get the invite to go offshore. Because you got to go. That window is now. You got to go. They tell you, here, we're leaving tomorrow. We're going from here to here. And you got to be ready to pack a bag and jump on the boat and go. And, you're not asking, when are we coming back? I got to get back. I got to work. I got stuff to do. No. You're going tuna fishing. You're going offshore. Nobody's asking when you're coming back. So I am free of all those obligations. I am very excited to get out there. I'm very grateful for the invite. Thank you, Scott. And he actually asked me, which tournament do I want to fish? Do I want to fish the Montauk Canyon Challenge, or do I want to fish the Tri-State? So I said, you choose for me. You tell me where I'm going, what time I got to be there, and done. Consider it done. So I'm excited about that. We got a lot going on. And we're super busy with the charters. So you could head over to sandcitycharter.com. You fill out the form. You guys want to get out there and get on some bass. It's just funny. Somebody just booked a charter, and he was telling me on the phone, he's like, yeah, I hear that, it's better to go get them in the evening time. And I'm like, well, you're talking to a captain that's catching them every morning. So if you're telling me the nighttime bite is better, I'm telling you the morning bite's been better, because you can get out there at the top, at the wrong tide in the evening time, and you're not going to get them. So I can't say it's a morning or an evening thing. I got to say it's a tide thing. And you got to catch that right spot in the tide. You're going to have a 90-minute window where it might be lights out. Absolutely lights out. You're going to have 90 minutes of the best fishing you've ever seen. And then it's like a light switch. Boop! Shuts off. And you're like, where'd they go? Then you drive around looking for them. And then you're like, you know what? How many more do we got to catch? So being dialed in on them, finding them, getting them, and knowing how to get them is all part of the game. Having a little luck on your side. I mean, luck is the residue of design. So when we get out there, we have a game plan. Like, we are set. We're ready for battle. So there's live bait in the live well that I'm sitting on right now. We're stocked. We're ready. We got our ammo. We're locked and loaded for action, right? So we get out there. Everybody's hoping to see fish blowing up out of the water. Everybody's going to run over to where the birds are. And, they're all hoping that, it's going to be top water action and they could just cast into it and hook up. I've been watching guys cast into them and not hook up. And I got great videos showing you me casting, hitting them in the head, which is what you have to do. So if you miss 5 feet to the left, 5 feet to the right, sayonara, you're not catching a fish. Adios. You're not getting them. And, you'll see in these videos, you'll see me saying it. Watch, he's going to come back for it.
Yeah, he took my plug.
And this
Look
is
at
in multiple videos. It's not
He'll
just
come back for it. Oh,
where
there he is. Who wants it? There you go.
And I'm waiting for them to come get it, and I'm just twitching it a little bit, getting some action on it, and let it sit there, and then move it. One bass hit it 3 times the other day. You see how many times do you see a dock come flying out of the water, and you're like he's missed it, And then you twitch it again, and he comes back for it. And he misses it again, but he doesn't hit it 3 feet in the air. And then on the third try, he comes back, he misses it again, and on the fourth one, you get him. So, to me, having that on camera it really is epic to be able to show you guys the life that's out there and what we're seeing, but how you have to be tied up, ready to throw into it. Right? Just like when you see the tuna blowing up out there, and you got to have your Ron Z's on and ready to cast out and throw into them. So, or whatever lure you're throwing into them. I'm just using that as an example because I recently did a podcast last week. Last week's episode was with Daniel from Ocean Devil. He also makes braid, which is known as Silk Ocean, and we're going to be spooling up all our rods on the boat with his braid, thanks to Corey, because Corey uses his product already, so it's already been battle tested. A lot of people are set in their ways. They don't want to try new stuff. I get that. I totally understand that. Like when I was on Jim's boat, and he saw my Avid, the blue one that you'll see in this video that I posted recently of the guy from Sweden who's catching a striped bass that I set and handed him the rod. That Avid is an awesome live lining reel, and Jim used it on. I brought it onto his boat to captain with him and Matt and 2 salty guys, and he loved it so much he went out. He went to High Hook. He went to High Hook and bought the reel. So, we do recommend equipment to people when we're with them. So Daniel has this great line, great product, and he's going to be in Cape Cod in August. So we're going to try to connect 2 dots here. We're going to get Daniel with Phil from Goose Hummock and try to set up the dates and see if we can get on some tuna up in Cape Cod with Daniel, with Phil. And Phil's going to break down for you all the different lures and the stuff that he uses to catch the fish. Why? Because he sells the lures. He sells it all. And we even have some really cool videos that we're going to post from private stock videos that we made behind the scenes with his staff at some of the trade shows at the New Jersey Saltwater Expo. So you're going to have to check that stuff out. It really is lights out. I mean, they're really expensive lures, too. They're like $100 a piece, 100 and change. They're not cheap. But again, when you're fishing for tuna, it's not striped bass. Add a 0 onto everything. If you got a $300 setup, you add a 0 onto it when you go tuna fishing. It's a $3,000 setup. So it all changes. The game is much bigger. I can't wait to get out there to Montauk this week for the Montauk Canyon Challenge. It's going to be epic. Very excited about that. Chris Squeary and his crew run an amazing show out there. It really is an epic event. We were out there last year, and the boats, last year it was 84 boats. So I can't wait to hear the number this year. They gave away $1.1 million in prize money. You're going to see a ton of Vikings. You're going to see Baylesses and just ridiculous fishing vessels that are, just awesome to see. And all the gear on it, everything's matching. It's just absolutely, fishing heaven for anybody that's really into fishing, like myself. So Bay Rats and Buoys is excited to be out there. And we talked a little bit about Captain of the Kitchen, the fluke bite. We have not done any porgy fishing yet, any bottom fishing yet on this boat. We are still dialed in on the bass. So check this out. This week I get a phone call from the town of Oyster Bay about their Bluefish tournament that they host in September. Now, I called back. I only spoke to the secretary because the person that called me wasn't there, so she was going to leave a message. And here's my big question. Do the Bluefish know that there's a tournament? Did anybody invite the Blues? Because it's July 9th and I have not seen a Bluefish yet. I know a couple people in my area caught a couple of Blues, but that was it. I'm seeing a ton of bunker here in the harbor, and by this time, the Blues are usually in here harassing them and pushing them up to the surface, and that's when we get to see the pods of bunker. There's a ton of bunker in the harbor. This harbor, Northport Harbor, it doesn't matter what harbor you're in. There's bunker in the harbor, but they're all sitting down low. We see them on the side scan. We see them on the down scan. We even know what the jellyfish look like because we're done throwing the cast net into the jellyfish. It's like pulling up something out of the poltergeist. It's really crazy. But they're here, and you're going to have to make multiple throws to get them. You got to hope your net's big enough and it's heavy enough to get down. If it is, you're going to catch them, and you'll get out there with some live bunker, which is always great to use. But I'll tell you now, it could take you an hour to catch a dozen bunker. It might. It's not the easiest, and they're splashing around on the harbor. You get out here 5 o'clock, 5:30 in the morning, you'll see them. There's a ton of them splashing around. You could throw the treble and try to snag them. But we're dialed in with the eels and the spot right now on the bass. So if you have access to go get that stuff, doesn't matter what tackle shop you go to, support your local tackle shop. Head over there, pick up live bait, get out there, drop them down, hit the bottom, give them a few cranks up and drift. You will hook up with some bass if you're in the right area on the right tide when they're chewing. And that's it. I'm going to keep today simple. I mean, I love that the rain's coming because today was a little bit cooler down here. It's not so crazy. Yesterday I was down here in the heat and the cameras were having all kinds of issues. Scott, we got my flag on the boat behind me there. He's got a much bigger flag. I was going to fly a rainbow flag on his boat just to mess with him, but the truth is I love him. And I did have an umbrella over the cameras yesterday, and it's one of those colorful beach umbrellas. So Chris, on his way out with his wife to go fishing, stops and says, "What's with that gay umbrella?" You know? And, this is the abuse you get in the marina. And we absolutely love it. Chris, bring it on. We love it. And I won't tell everybody that you have raccoons on your boat. Nobody knows that you have raccoons on your boat. It is not a known fact. So we did see the have a heart trap on the boat. I haven't seen it in a while, so I'm sure you've solved your problem, but, it is what it is. Welcome to our marina. We love it down here. It's awesome. And next week, I will be broadcasting to you live multiple times. So if you want to go check us out on TikTok, I'll be doing a ton of live feeds out in Montauk. Me and Brandon had a great idea. We want to get on Starlink and see if we could do some sort of a live anything on Starlink. So we're going to get out there with Brandon on the Tuna. I know he's getting out there too. Like I said, we'll be out there with the East End Anglers. We're hoping to get out with Chris Squeary. We'll be out there with these guys, Scott and the boys. Their boat is from this area, but they keep it out in Shinnecock. And they head out to the tournament from there. So, you will see Captain Gage on Tuna here this year. I can guarantee you that. All right? Just like I can guarantee you if you come on our boat with me and Corey, you're going to have an absolute blast fishing. Whether we catch them or not, you're going to have fun. And there's a really good chance we're going to catch them. I'm not cocky about it. I'm not confident. There are times where we say to people, "Did you guys bring any bananas on the boat?" But we also know the time, and I tell them, "Hey, listen, in an hour it's going to turn on." And sure as shit, in an hour it turns on. And then they say your reputation precedes you. My ego doesn't get any bigger because anytime, any day, you can get out there and you could get skunked. It happens to all of us. I've been skunked. Corey's been skunked. We've been skunked together. We've gone out and gotten skunked. It's fishing, and that's why they call it fishing. And we hear that all the time from people. We do. But we are dialed in and having a blast. This year has been epic. And there's another body of fish coming our way. And how do I know this? Because the guys that we have in the Bay Rats and Buoys Fishing Club are by far, bar none, some of the best anglers here on the North Shore. And we absolutely love the club. In fact, after last month's meeting that we had at the Shamrock and had dinner and drinks, some guys ordered food, we had drinks, it was a good time. I got, a bunch of text messages that night from guys in the club saying, hey, that was really awesome, and these guys are really, top notch, and they're happy to be in the club. So that was very nice to hear. So we're going to grow it. We're going to make it bigger. We're going to make it better. And every month we're trying to do that. So if you want to join, head over to sandcitycharter.com and hit us up with a request to join the Bay Rats and Buoys Fishing Club. Now, next week I told you we'll be live. If you want to get out with me and Corey, head over to sandcitycharter.com. I'm going to close this one out by wishing everybody bent rods, tight lines, and I hope to see you out there on the water. Captain Gage signing out. Over and out.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Bay Rats and Buoys. Be sure to visit sandcitycharter.com and follow Captain Gage on all our social media channels.